Hello, hi. Good evening, boys and girls. Good evening to everyone, and welcome to another stream of Plane Shift. The game that was never finished, but maybe one day it will be. Maybe one day. Maybe one day, you know, we can say, we finished it. But for now, no. For now, we didn't finish it yet. There is still quite some stuff to do, but so one thing I want to do tonight is to understand how, more than understand, I want to try to document somehow how do we configure stuff, okay? Because I think that we never documented enough, right, how to do things in the game, and it is a problem, right? Is exactly this page, right? Is exactly this piece, which is called Unreal New Content Configuration, or anyway, Unreal New Content Configuration, I think is the perfect title, right? And under this, I want to have, you know, some guides that are mostly for me, but also for the people that will configure, you know, some of the rules and some of the stuff, because I think there are some, you know, some basic things that we do that we never documented, and after some time we lose track of how they are done, and then we don't know how to do them anymore, right? So we have to like relearn it from scratch. Hello, Hula. Hi. I have a big head. Yes, thank you. I know. I know. I have a big head. Yes. So the problem is how to categorize this thing, because how to categorize this thing. Okay, let's try to use, you know, since we have the mind map, which I think is nice, we can use the mind map also for other stuff, right? Let me try to just think. Okay, this one we will close it because we don't need it anymore. I have no idea how to close it, but okay, we just have another one in. So so let's say plane shift configurations, right? Plane shift configurations. So apart from the fact that there are some server-side configurations, but those ones I really don't care at the moment. Okay, so like you can configure stuff just for having the server run properly, but that's not my aim. My aim is, given the different tables that we have in the database, right? How do we... I'm thinking, because there is so much, you know. Now that I look at the list, there is so much. It's like overwhelming, but wow. Okay. Okay. How can I do this? Wow. How can I do this? Where do I start, you know? Okay. How can I start? Where can I start? Okay, let's start from the races. No, let's start from the... Yes, let's start from the races. Okay. So there are a number of things that we can configure on the races. And they are changing a bit of the gameplay. right? And in particular, the races are configured inside race info. So I think that from this, you know, from this thing, we could link then specific tables, because in the wiki we have those tables, right? Do I want to point? Okay, let's try. So let's say that I do. I think we need to have. Anyway, let's say that I have a config races, okay? And let's say that in races I have. What do I want to have? I want to have like add a new race, or do I want to have? Well, yes, I think there will be how to add a new race, being a monster or anything, and I want also to know how I can configure a specific race, right? I mean, adding a new race is fairly easy, so it's basically adding a new entry in, and then if we can link, you know, if we can link to the character table, because we have a database we have a database design, right? You see there is already something how to add a spell to the database. Exactly. Who wrote this guy? Who wrote this guide? Me? I don't think so. Me. Okay. It was me in 2010. Okay. But yes, this is exactly the idea. This is exactly the idea. So actually I think that this one should be moved, right? This is exactly what I had in mind. This is exactly what I had in mind. So you see, after 10 years, you know, after 10 years, but I think I need to find the main categories first, right? I need to find the main categories, otherwise I will lose time. So let's try to find the main category. So let's try to do it here first as a mock-up, and then we will do it for real in the game, right? So races, how to add a new race, monster or not. Then the things that we can configure, you know, that are changing the gameplay are, for example, the mesh, right? We can decide. I think it should be a child of this one, by the way, but it should be mesh name, right? For example, sides X, Y, and Z, I think at the moment this thing is completely useless in Unreal, because this one was a way to define the bounding box, right? The bounding box of the character. So how big was the character? But I think that now this one, we have it directly in Unreal with a visual representation. So I think that this is completely useless. It is completely useless. So I think we should flag. We should flag these fields like obsolete and remove them. Yes, for sure. Okay, another way is to change its textures. So, you know, so it is texture variation. texture variation for arrays, right? Texture variation for arrays, you do it in this field, and this one needs to correspond in the Unreal Editor to a specific name, right? Actually, yes. The initial CP, I think it goes under character creation. I think we can have a separate, which is character creation. So all the options that are relevant for character creation. Then we have the starting stats, yes, and this one I think are used, right? I think this one are used. Physical regeneration, for example, all of this, I still need to understand if it's still used in the engine or not, but I think they are. I think all the regenerations are used. I think the regeneration is used. Armor ID, weapon ID. I think armor ID and weapon ID is used only for monsters and maybe for the Cran. No. For the Cran is not. Okay. I was thinking we had a kind of a base armor for the Cran, but I think we don't. Okay, so but yeah, so it's like default weapon, default armor and weapon. Okay? Default armor and weapon. So we can define them in this table. The helmet and the bracers are not used anymore, I think. Yes, because now we do it in a different way. Same for belt and cloak. These are also old fields, completely unused. Mounted animation, I have no idea what is it. Then we have the race. Then we have the scale. Okay, the scale is actually used because the scale is a multiplier that is getting added for the specific monster variation, right? The speed modifier, I have no idea if it's used. Zero idea. But I think it would be nice. It would be very nice if this is used. To have certain races go faster than others in terms of monsters, right? Even if I don't understand why we have this field, if we anyway have, you know, these three available, because we have walk, run, and sprint. I think because this one was before my change of walk, run, and sprint. Yes, exactly. I think speed modifier at the moment is completely useless. Yes, I think speed modifier is completely obsolete. I can search it in the code and see what happens, but... Hello, Digistar. Hello, Hula. You will see. You will see what I mean. You will see what I mean as I go through this. You will see what I mean as I go through this. Speed modifier. No, this is completely unused at the moment. Completely unused. I think it's obsolete. I think it's obsolete. Yeah. Okay, speed modifier is obsolete, but we have a way to configure speed anyway, because we can configure the race speed in these other fields, right? In these other fields, which are walk, run, and sprint, and climb, swim, and fly. Okay, all of that. All these fields, I think these are all fields that I added in Unreal, if I remember right. If I go to update schema, and if I search for speed, yes, speed, walk, run, sprint, climb, swim, and fly. This is all stuff that I added specifically for Unreal. So they exist only in Unreal. But these are all the types that you can. And then there is a skin type. Skin type, I think, is also the something that I added for Unreal. Okay, so this will be already a good start, you know. Like if you need to create a new monster, this is all the things that you need to define, right? These are all the things that you need to define. And I would like this to be documented somehow, because I don't want every time to reinvent the wheel and go there and say, oh, how do I do this? You know? I don't want to go back over and over and do we want to add a new column? Do we want to add a new column on all the tables, which is explaining if it's valid for Unreal or if it's not valid for Unreal? I know it's a bit annoying, because basically I will have to add for all of this a new field, which is super annoying. It's a pity that we cannot really edit it as a real table. Is it possible that this freaking wiki is so old that this freaking wiki is so old that we cannot edit a table just editing a table, but we need to do it in like in text only? Because in reality this thing is media wiki, eh? Is media wiki, and media wiki is getting updated regularly now. Do I have a username here? No. I can create a new user and do some tests, but the problem is, you know, what I wanted to say is, can I edit the table just like a normal table, or do I need to really go in text? Let me search one thing. Media wiki, edit table. Visual editor. Visual editor user guide. Fully supports basic table editing with a visual editor. I would like to have this visual editor in my wiki. How can I do it? What is this visual editor thingy? But it's in beta. It'd be nice to install it in our wiki. Do you think it's something we can use for our wiki or not? Do I have an account on... Is this a Wikipedia page or is it a Wikimedia page? Wikimedia, Wikipedia. Because he went to Wikipedia, but I don't know, maybe I should not do it now. But the problem is that if I need to edit a lot of tables, you know, I cannot go crazy. Yeah, you see that the visual editor seems to be very, very good. Wait a second, let me check MediaWiki. MediaWiki, let me just check if I have a login already on this thing or not. MediaWiki. It looks like I don't. Fuck. No, I don't have. Okay, we can create a new account. Let's create a new account. Just a second. I go to the other page because probably will ask me, I don't know what. Username. Can we use plain shift or they don't like it? There is already a plain shift username. Really? There is? There is already a plain shift username. Can I get his password or what? Wait, I'm just trying to log in. I'm just creating the account. I think it is a good thing that we need to do anyway, to update a bit our wiki, because if I'm using it more and more, you know, if I'm using it more and more, okay, just 1 second, I was just recording the information. Okay, we have a login on this thing. Can I create a page just as an example? Can I go to my page? Yes, exactly. Can I edit a page or welcome to MediaWiki. Anyone can edit. Switch to source editor or start editing. What do you mean? Yeah, you see that they have anyway at least a kind of a visual. Now, if I want to insert a table, you see. That's a bit easier, boys. That's a bit easier. Should I do an upgrade of our wiki right now? I mean, I can try. I have no idea even how I look at the version that we have, you know? The version that we have of the wiki, in theory, should be fairly easy to upgrade, but, you know, I'm not really sure that... no, wait. It's nothing to do with this server. Wrong server. Good question.
Ready for some fun?
Oh my god, the password of this thing. The password of this thing is insane. No, because I'm thinking that I want to use more our wiki to document stuff. But if we don't upgrade our wiki to actually be good, I think that it will take me more time. So I think it's better if we spend some time trying to update the wiki. And so how do I know which version we are in? Just a second, because maybe there are some password or other stuff. I'm not sure. But... media wiki, system installation, media wiki, all special pages, download. Media wiki is also collaboration. Very nice. I don't even know if this one is based on a database or is based on pure file system. No, it's based on a database. It's based on a database. How do I know the version? Media wiki check version. How can I see the exact version of my media wiki? Exactly. To check the media wiki, default settings. Okay, default settings. I don't have default settings. I have local settings. VSG version. VG version. No, I don't have it, boys. I don't have this thing. I can do a grep. Of this. Doesn't exist. Maybe this wiki, my version of this wiki is so old, you know, that then it's not even anymore, you know, in the list of wikis, supported wikis. I don't know. I think I didn't change it too much time, but I mean, I think I did an update some time ago, but Find the version. Old boxy version. I think we will probably have an old. Here there is Media Wiki 137.0. 137.0 stable. Should we do this, boys? What do you think? Should we try to update our wiki or no? I feel I should, but I don't know if it will be too hard, you know. Because, for example, it is requiring a specific PHP and specific SQL. I think we are definitely behind that one. Legacy release. If your MediaWiki installation is heavily modified, it may be difficult to incorporate the latest changes. We maintain old branches of our code up to a year for legacy releases. I see. Yeah, the point is, how do I know which version I have? Because this is not telling me much. I can grab version star. Hopefully something will come out. There is a history file. Wait. There is a history file. Maybe in the history file we will discover. There is a history file. MediaWiki 131.1. Holy shit. Okay, I found it. Our MediaWiki is 131. So... Wow, he's saying legacy 136. 136. Okay. I think we are on a very old release. Boys. Very old release. Is there a date of this file? Or the problem is that the date will probably not be correct, because it's probably the date in which I installed the thing. But I also have a release notes 132 actually. 132.0. Hello, Strick. I have a release note 132. Now the question is, how do I update MediaWiki 132 upgrade or upgrade or update? Update MediaWiki 132. MediaWiki 132 is a legacy release. Consult the release notes for the full list of changes. It was deployed at MediaWiki Foundation in 2018. Well, not too bad. I was thinking it was something like 2010. But the 132.0 stable release was released on 10 January 2019. Really? So I already did an upgrade. Or not? I mean, he's saying 132.0 in 2019, so it's not too bad. Okay, so if it's 2019, now my question is, can I enable this freaking visual editor on my old, on this version, right? Do you think the visual editor was existing already in 132, in version 132? Probably not, huh? Hello, Video Nomad. Hi. Hello, Funner. How is going? Good. I started from something and I'm doing something else, but but it seems he was existing, huh? It was existing already in our version, the visual editor. Okay, so if it was existing, how do I enable it? It seems to be very complex. Before MediaWiki 135, Visual Editor did not enable itself for user by default. To make it available, add the following line to your wiki local settings PHP, which is a file that I have, after you have downloaded the extension. After you have downloaded the extension. Let me see if I have a visual editor in my local settings or not. Visual editor. No, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Okay, we can try. We can try to download the extension. The following download instructions are to use for the latest nightly build of MediaWiki only. No, I need a visual editor that was working in 132. That's the issue though. It's recommended to use PHP 7.3. Which PHP we have on this machine? We have PHP 7.0. I think is a problem. Okay, GG. I think I will not do it. I think it's too complex. There are too many dependencies and it's a pity though. Because the time it will take me to edit those tables manually. But I know what I can do. You know what I can do? I can cheat. Look. Look how I cheat. Look. Look how I cheat, huh? Look. How do I see the normal... Okay, look at the cheat. Look at the cheat. Look. Copy paste. Copy paste. Switch to visual editing. Yes, yes, we can use it here on their wiki, and then we can copy paste, and then we can copy paste the results. Easy. Okay, that's very good. That's very nice. That's very nice. So for example, if I want to add a new column to the left, can I? Yes. Okay. So I think we can do this. Perfect. Beautiful. Fantastic. Let me just try if it works then when I put it back, but I think it will, because I don't think that the syntax has been changed. Do we want to have an Unreal Engine column or what? Because I think that the idea, you know, would be to have an Unreal Engine column to say the ones that have been added, the ones that are obsolete, for example, right? For example, we said that okay, this is characters, by the way. This is not the right table. Okay. GG. It's not the right table. We have to go to race info. Ah! Race info is not documented. PT. Wow. Race info is not documented. And no, we need it. We need it. We need it absolutely. We need it absolutely. Now that the next jump, you know, in terms of productivity will be if I would be able somehow to copy this, you know, into an Excel, and then from the Excel into the visual editor, and then from the visual editor, the problem is that it copied only, why? It copied only the first column. This is not very nice. Why? Copy advanced info did it. Okay. Because of this one will be very, very nice if we could. I don't think I really need the not null and all that stuff. I just need the table to be, you know, to be documented. What is this? I didn't click on this. What? Let me just see if we can copy paste stuff. Wow. Wow. Okay. Fantastic. 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 Absolutely fantastic. Okay, okay, okay. We have an easy way to do all of this then. We have a very easy way to do all of this. That is super good. That is super good, boys. This will speed up my productivity like 20 times. Like 20 times. No, more. I think 200 times. Like... Here we had like field type, foreign key, and description. I don't really care about the foreign key. I think I care a bit about the type. I don't know if I care about the null and not null, but I think that pretty much I care about these two columns. These are the only columns that I need, right? And I think it's more than enough to document it this way. So field, type, and description. I think these are the ones that we need. So if we go back to this, right? If we go back to this, and I say field, type, and description. And by the way, some of them already have the description, huh? Some of them already have the description. Ah, it is so much better, boys. You have no idea. Yeah, imagine it to you sounds normal. Like, okay, I mean, you're just editing a table. Yes, I know, I'm just editing a table, but I'm editing in our wiki. I mean, I'm editing in a wiki, and that's super good. And this is super good. Look at that. 3 copy paste, done. 3 copy paste, done. Okay, let's see if we can really move it to the other wiki though, because why when I click on edit, why when I click on edit source is doing this? Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah, there is the thing that I should have written, you know, in theory. There is the thing that I should have written manually. Wow. Clap, clap. Okay. Yeah, so I think what I want to do, I want to add a column to describe which one are added in EU and which one are obsolete in EU. Because, for example, on this one, what we said, right? What we said is that this one is obsolete. Should we say OBS or deleted, or I don't know? These 3 are obsolete. They were originally used to determine the bounding box. The bounding box of the character. Right? But now they are completely useless. This one is used, this one is used, this one are used, this one are used, this is used. These one are completely obsolete in EU. At least. I don't know, they are not used in EU. Now, if they are really obsolete, I have no idea. Race, scale, could be good. Speed modifier, I think is obsolete. And this one are added. Okay, so all these one are added in EU, right? Define the speeds of walk movement expressed in EU units. Okay, and the same. Basically, as above for run, as above for sprint, as above for climb, as above for, right? That is so good anyway, boys. Now that we can edit tables like that, I think we can go a bit faster. Okay, so this table now. This table I think is good enough. We can take it and put it in our wiki and save it. And boom, here we have in our wiki. Very nice. Okay, so what I wanted to do, I wanted to say to configure arrays, right? I want to point to this thing. I want to point to this thing. So when we are in, yes, adding a new race, I want to say something like that. Right? Okay, so that we jump there. And then in configuring a race, I want to say what is possible to configure, right? All the things that you can configure. Some stuff you will be able to configure from the database, other stuff you will be able to configure only from the editor. And meanwhile, maybe I launch the editor because I think I will need it very soon. And it takes some time to start up, right? So we said, yes, how to configure the mesh, for example. What? Because it's only that piece, yes. Okay. So configuring arrays, right? Configuring arrays. So how do you change? So change the base mesh. You can say, that's very easy, because changing the base mesh, you just go in Unreal and you change. No, it's not the way you do it. It's not the way you do it, because basically you are using the string mesh field in the race info table. Right. So using the string mesh in race info table. No, let's say this string mesh in the race info table, right? Example stone b. No, let's take another one. Let's take Ilian M. Example Ilian M, right? Example Ilian M has to match with the right? Has to match with what? Has to match with content blueprints or content blueprints NPC. Has to match with content blueprints or content blueprints NPC. Right. So he has to match with this, where we are searching, where we search an actor BP with name Ilian M character, right? So example, right? Okay, so for example, this is a basic thing, right? But if we don't know it, if we don't document it, in some time I will forget, or anyway, someone else, they want to do the thing, or checking if the code is working, the stuff is working, he will not know that there is this thing, right? But there is. So if you want to match a specific race, this is how we do it. So we go in race info, we define here the string mesh, and then from the string mesh we define the specific race, right? That's, for example, one piece. Then the other piece is texture variation, right? So this is change the texture variation, right? Texture variation, again, is a bit of a mess, because, well, it's a mess. Let's say the way we do it is that we take this field, Maybe the easiest way to do this would be something like that. Let me see if it looks okay. Yes, I think it looks okay. I think I can use this syntax like always. So race info table. Well, it would even be better if I could do this. It would be even better. No, but I cannot. Why not? No. It wasn't like that. It wasn't with the pipe that you can say what is the name to display and what is the link. No. I think there was a way, but now I don't recall. But it's okay. The rest between the texture. So so we use that. So example, I don't know, 3x3, right? And needs an entry in. So, and this is where, you know, things are complex. They're all in my mind. This stuff is all in my brain. But if I never document it, one day my brain will crash, and we will never know how to do these things, right? I think so. For example, now I'm already struggling, you know, because I don't know exactly where we have that. I think it's inside of this probably, but I'm not 100% sure. Yes, it is. So it needs an entry inside data table, game data texture. So it needs an entry into this thing. And this thing needs to point, you know, to the actual texture, which should be a material instance, right? Pointing to the actual material instance in Unreal, right? So for example, this is how you do it. This is how you do it to change the texture variation, right? Now you can say, how do I change the starting stats? So the stats that are assigned to the character when it's first created. Change starting stats, right? So to do that's easy because it doesn't have a reference in Unreal and in the editor. So those stats are actually here. So is start star. Right? So that's an easy one. How do I define the regeneration of a character? Change the regeneration for mental and physical stamina. Right? How do I do it? The way to do it is to the way to do it is to use base underscore, right? Base underscore whatever it is, fields again in the info table. Base underscore star fields are determining these values. Okay, so contain the value. I don't know. Contain the values used. Okay, so that's another example. Well, more than an example, we are going through all of it. So default armor and weapon. Okay, so change default armor and weapon. Now it's important to say that this one is used, should be used only for monsters, right? And basically this is the used if no other armor, if no other armor or weapon is available, is welded, right? Is worn welded. And the way we do it, is to use armor ID and weapon ID, right? Armor ID and weapon ID, right? These one are pointing to a valid item stats. So they are pointing to a valid item stats. Yes. So they are pointing to a valid item stats ID item, right? Which will be equipped, right? That's very nice. Then scale. I think the scale at the moment is used, so I think that change the scale of the character. So if you want to change the scale of the character, we use raise info table scale, right? Contains the value used. Then if we want to change the speed, okay, this one I think at the moment is not. The speed modifier we said it is obsolete, right? The speed modifier. Yes, the speed modifier is obsolete. So we are using all of this. Speed, walk, fly, blah, blah, blah. So change the speed of the character. So its speed underscore fields contain the value used, right? For the different stances. Right? So if you are walking, running, sprinting, and it is actually working. Okay. Now what else? We have more than this because, for example, we have the skin type, which is something new, completely created for Unreal. So this one is change the type of skin to react in combat, right? And so in this case we are using race info table skin type. I think there is a description here as well, but it's used to determine the sound when hitting a creature, right? And then the description is there. I'm not gonna repeat it, but it's used for determining the hitting sound, but in the future maybe will also be used for other stuff, right? At the moment is just the hitting sound. And then obviously there is more stuff, because there is only the stuff that you can configure in the database, but then there is other stuff that we can configure in the blueprints. Now, I mean, here there is a million things, but at the moment, I think that the only thing that we are really configuring is the max step height, right? Which is how big of a step it should be in front of you to block you or to let you just step on it. I think that is the only one that we are really using. I see is overridden. I think the base character I think the base character. Yeah, the base character is 45. So you see, for example, this one, I'm not sure that it's consistent everywhere. I mean, 90 seems so much. 90 centimeters? 90 centimeters, this lady can step up easy? Was that a test or what? Yes, it was. You see? The Dermorian female at the moment is the only one that can step over 90 centimeters, while, for example, the male one only 45. Right? So this is already an example of configurations that we didn't keep track of, and now, you know, they may be broken. So change the max height of step allowed, right? So this one we can say, how do we point to an editor? How do we point to an editor thing? I think I need to say something like EU editor, character BP, character movement is the only way I need to have, because character movement and then character movement walking. Ah, by the way, there is only on walking, or there's also on jumping? No. Walking and character movement walking. Max step height. Now, there are not a million of this thing that we use. Obviously, there are a lot in Unreal Engine, but we are not really using that many. So what I want to do, I want to keep in these files, at least in this configuration, you know, all the ones that we are actually using, right? So maybe now you understand a bit better what I want to do. So I want to say, if I have a new monster, right, that we want to add, because it will happen soon, I will have a new monster maybe to add to the game. How do I do this, right? Because there are so many pieces laying around, and maybe we forget what those pieces are and how to do it, right? Let's say the majority is inside of Race Info table, but not always. So for example, the max height, as we have seen, is in another place, right? And I don't know what else we can use here, but for example, there is also the jump. The velocity of jumping. There is the swimming speed, but the swimming speed, flying speed, we are using the one of the database, so we are not using these ones. Now there is the bounding box. The bounding box is decided with a capsule. So yeah, so maybe we can mention it here, right? So if you want to change the character bounding box, is no more done in the database, but is again in the editor, right? Character BP, and then change the size of the capsule component, right? And the important point is that this one is the one that is used for collision overall. Used for all collisions. All right, and I don't think there are so many actually, because like the one that I listed now are pretty much all the ones that we use at the moment for character configuration. I don't think we use much more. We have the initial CP, but that's part of character creation. And I think that's it. Right? So for example, another chapter, which I don't know if I want to do now, but another chapter is I think I need a new page, by the way, for this thing, because this thing will become like infinite, right? Will be like an infinite list. So I don't know if I really want to keep it. You see, it was the pipe. Why it was not working for me? I don't know. It was the pipe. Why it was not working? Probably because I put the description next. Wait. This is so much better. This is so much better. Okay, 1 second then. Let me do the full substitution. So we substitute this with this. Okay. Like it. I like it. I like it.
Those methods, pure invention, only work in legends and fables.
Which methods? Hello, Digistar, welcome back. So we are trying to document a bit how we do things in Unreal, because I think that one day I will forget, we start to forget, and anyway I want to enable other people to be able to do this stuff, you know, beyond me. So, or in parallel with me, let's say. So I'm trying to have, you know, a page or a section of the page which is explaining how to do things. You know, how to configure arrays, how to configure sectors, how to configure lights, player mount. Okay, all of that I don't know, but player mounts and speed, we did it already in the config race, so I think it's included here. But for example, another thing that I would like to do is to document the character creation, right? Because the character creation, I don't know if I want to do it now, but anyway, because it's not very important, because we finished it. So, but the character creation is done, you know, through really a complex set of tables and other stuff. So yeah, and for example, the character creation tables are not even here, I guess. No, at the moment they are not. At the moment they are not. Now with the trick that we just learned, I think I can add it very, very quickly. Because if I go, if I do this, if I do character creation, right? And then here I want to add, let me try 1 second to see how quick we are, but I think we'll be fairly quick. Character creation, for example, is the main table, right? So if I want to copy this with copy advanced info, how did we do it? We did it this way, yeah? So we went here, we put it like this, then we kept only the columns that we wanted. Yes, which unfortunately we have no comment on any of those, but and then we copied this into the other wiki. right? And then we paste. And then we, yeah, it's not super quick, but I would say I mean, it's not slow anyway. You see, and it's done. And now this is a very small table, so maybe it didn't show. It didn't show like the most important thing, but we call it character creation table. I don't know, maybe I'm not gonna do it now, but for example, this one will be a job that if you want to do it, you know, is very appreciated, and it just requires a bit of time. I mean, it doesn't really require any crazy skills, right? Just understanding the technique and then just copy pasting between the two wikis, right? And it's very appreciated because it's a way to document, you know, our game and make it available to the future developers. I think I fucked up, by the way. Yes, I put it in the wrong I put it in the wrong page, but okay, fine. And here we should have the description, you know, but there is a start. So for example, to configure character creation, what do we need, right? So in character creation, we want to configure the options. So configure, right? Configure the character creation choices, right? For example. And this is something that I can document. So how to do it? So we have basically two sets of choices. We use the character creation table, this one that I just created, right? So we use, I'm trying to go a bit quick, you know, just because it's taking time, but character creation, we use the character creation table. To hold all the options. Now, there is a bit of a trick here because actually all the options except the life choices, right? While we use the life choice table, I think it's this one. Yes, character creation life. Use the character creation life table. Character creation life table to hold all the options for life events. Yeah, let's call it life events. Life events. And basically the combination of the two are the total list. Plus, you know, we have the initial CP point, the initial character points, right? Available. So basically here, like every character, blah. Every character has a number of points to these two, a number of points to what? To spend in the character creation, right? And these points are defined. So those are defined in. Those are defined. Good question, eh? Those are defined in character initial CP, right? So they are defining characters dot no, mistake. They are defined. You see that already, you know, some information. I don't know where is it exactly. Race underscore info initial CP. Okay, this one is the pointer. And the beauty of what I'm doing, even if for you maybe it doesn't really, you know, click, but the beauty of what I'm doing is that it's divided by area. So if someone needs to modify the character creation, let's say that some of you say, hey, I want to look at character creation to improve it. I want to have in this page all the pieces that you need, right? And all the choices that you need. So I want that to be and for example, it would be nice to document, you know, which choice area we have available. Exactly, which are exactly these ones, right? Which are exactly these ones. So we use the characterization table to all the options except live events. And we can say in the code those are I can just yes, maybe I can say in the code those are because to choose which event type is, I think that we are using yes, choice area, right? This one is the one that is actually doing making the difference, right? So we use character creation choice area. The reference is character creation choice area. Wait. Character creation choice area. Right? Values can be, and here actually I will need a bullet of a bullet. Do you think I can do this? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Okay, so I don't want to do it all tonight, okay? But this is a kind of the beginning, you know, of something that I will do sometimes. I mean, I cannot go now and document the whole game, okay? Because it will take me days or weeks. But I want to start to document a bit how things are done. Otherwise, one day I will spend, you know, years to find the stuff. So I want to do it bit by bit if I can. Okay, so for example, here we are documenting this, and we are documenting how they are, you know, what are the values and how to split it, and we see that these are the possibilities. Now, can this change? Yes, this can change, but at least now you know where to change it. Right? And you always have the link, so if you go to race info, you can see the race info table. Right? And this can be useful also to the people that are developing web apps, you know, or other stuff around plane shift, because people that are helping, for example, on developing new web applications for the voiceovers, and you may refer, you know, to this documentation to understand how the system works, right? Which I think is good. Okay. I think this gives you a feeling of what I want to do now. I don't think I can finish tonight, but I wanted to do at least some pieces to, you know, get in my mind what I had to do. Right? And why I decided to do it today. I decided to do it today because there are certain pieces that I think I want to configure. And I don't know exactly how, but I think I need to create a new page for this, by the way. I think I need to create a new page with this piece, boys. Is too annoying otherwise. Too annoying that is in that like subsection. Let's do this. Let's create an engine. Let's edit this page. And let's create a PS Unreal config. Okay. So he has his own space. Right. And this is obviously more a developer thing than a player things, but okay, so at least we put it here. He has his own page, and I think it's definitely better. Yes. For the legacy players, how to convert books to PS Unreal. This one I think should be inside PS Unreal for players. Yes, I think I want to put that. And again, I really hope you will use the Unreal Engine version, boys, because I'm doing it for you. I mean, I'm doing it also for me, but I'm doing it mostly for you. So I hope you will start to use some of these resources, right? As soon as you start to play more the game. The one for players, at least. Okay, now I'm speaking of the one for players. For example, I created a page, which is this one, which is very basic for now. Okay, I can give you the link. Where I started to document, you know, where are the different logs and configs. Maybe you want to know where are the configs on your machine, how to override a specific config file, and we can add more options here in the future. There is some troubleshooting, you know, on Linux. There is some troubleshooting on Mac, so how to authorize the app on Mac. And now there is, for example, a guide on how to convert books from legacy to Unreal, because it's not, you know, one-to-one, but it requires some work, and you can look at that guide, and that guide is linked, you know, in the main page, the main wiki here under PS Unreal for players. Okay. Goodbye, Funner. See you. So what I wanted to do is like, for example, for generated events, right? For generated events, which I think is the next thing I will restart to work on. You see that I have this page, which is explaining a bit on how it works, but where the hell did I link it? I linked it under server design. Okay. But I don't think it's a good place. So we will now move it, because this was the only one that I had, right? And I didn't have a home for it. But now we have a home. And our home is inside Unreal Engine configurations, right? And in the future we will group them. We will group them more. Right? We will group them more. So I mean, there is a lot more than that that is already available and identical to the old game. For example, the way we create scripts for quest is exactly identical. The way we script NPC, right, is exactly identical. So this NPC client page, you know, with the design, the cases, the creation of NPC and such, is exactly yeah, you see, this one was already a test at that. It doesn't exist anymore. GG. Yes, if you change server XML, the server list XML, the update will fail. Because in theory that's a file you should never change. Now we had to change it because we changed server, but it's a bit of a special case. Okay, good. So yes, random generated events. So I would like to know, right? I would like to know in the game today how many ways we have to generate content for the players. And obviously this is a start, right? This is a start. This is a start. There is a start, but let's say these one are like static elements. You know, static elements, I mean, that are elements that you configure once and then you start the server, and usually you're not gonna change them for quite some time. Okay, so like a new race, or changing the character creation options, or defining new sectors, new maps, you know, or changing music or ambient sound. This is like static stuff that exists in the game and is going to stay there. Then we have some, you know, dynamic elements. And the dynamic elements, for example, are the proximity triggers or the random generated events. But it is not only that, because today in our game I have multiple ways to create content. For example, I have the ant locations, right? I have the natural resource table, but this one also is not very documented. It's not very documented, and I don't remember exactly how it works. No, I think I know, but I'm not completely up to speed with that. Yeah, there are these two tables, ant locations and natural resources. I think they are working slightly differently from each other, and I want to document it. I think we can put them both here. I don't know if they are the same or not. I mean, they are not. I think they are used in a different way. Now I always forget, and you see, this is the typical example that I forget exactly. I think one is spawning stuff and the other is not, but if you ask me which is which, I have no idea. So the natural resource table He has a location. He has a center and a radius. Okay. He has a center and a radius. He has a visible radius for harvesting. He has a probability. He has a skill level, a category ID of the item that is required for harvesting. Okay, so this is the tool. The item quality, I think, is the minimum quality that you need this tool to be able to harvest. There is the animation that is played while harvesting, and this is the item that you're gonna get, right, when you are harvesting, right? But this one is not spawning items on the ground. So, for example, if it's a mine. If it's a mine, we use this, right? We use this. Now, let me check one thing. Because I need it now. Good night, Marcellum. See you. List locations. No, we had list natural resources. I remember we had resource map, exactly. Sorry, I'm looking at another screen for a second, but resource map, natural resources. Okay, for example, here I can see, yes, the natural resources, which are the ones, for example, used for fishes and for mines, but also for flowers. You see, this is where I'm confused. I don't remember which one is which. Hunt locations. No. Yeah. I think the ant locations. Yes, I think the ant locations are spawning, while the natural resources are not spawning. So that's basically the thing. If want to die, return. What is this? If want to die, return. Okay. Spawn hunt locations. But yes, I think that is the difference, right? Hunt locations. Hunt locations. Yeah, the only thing I don't remember is this item spawn event. Spawn manager spawn on locations. When the item is getting destroyed, I think when the item is getting destroyed, is automatically scheduling a new item to be created. So there is a, in the trigger of this, if I remember right, no, in the trigger of item spawn event, there must be an item spawn event, bro. There must be an item spawn event, no? Spawn manager, spawn manager, spawn manager, spawn manager, spawn manager. Current document. Create item. Hey, you see schedule. Yes, he's creating a new scheduled item. Yeah, so he continues to spawn. Yes, I don't know if it's a good idea to do it this way, but anyway, this is what we did. I'm not gonna change it now. So it's basically continuously creating a new. Now with this one maybe we can test just to understand how it works, but let me document it a second. So we have two tables, right? We have two tables. We have the ant location in the natural resource tables. And yes, I think we can have a page for those two. Yes, we can have definitely a page for those two. I think they are complex enough. So we will have a page. And here we document the two things. So we have two different ways to configure locations where players can gather materials, right? Can gather materials. And this one we really need to be careful on because there is a lot of processing power behind this regeneration of items, but I think we don't have another way. So okay, let's document what we have and then we think what we want to do differently. So we have two different ways to configure locations where player can gather materials, right? So the first one is hunt locations. I will probably put it in the opposite order actually, but anyway. The first one will be natural resources. So natural resources, right? Natural resources, we use it when we want something invisible to be harvested, right? So used when we need invisible items to be harvested. Example, a mine will be modeled in 3D, but the single ore, you know, the individual ore that are mined, individual ore are not 3D objects, right? Are not 3D objects in the world, right? Instead, yeah, so what do we do? So we configure a location, right? Is a location on the map is a location on the map defined by coordinates, defined by a center, you know, in XYZ coordinates, and a radius, right? So we define a radius, a center, we define a location on the map defined by a center and a radius, where the player will be able to harvest. Now we also define the tool to be used. Example a rock pick. Example a rock pick, right? And the difficulty, right? Well, the tool, the difficulty, and the resulting item. So the resulting item is actually a valid pointer again to an item stats ID table, right? So this table is holding all the information, right? So the table natural resource is holding this information. So this is one way I can create in the world locations where you can harvest minerals or other stuff, right? Yeah, the item reward is the result, right? The item reward is the element. Now, I don't remember if this item quality is the quality of the tool needed or is the quality of the resulting item. That I don't know. But fine. Now the other way is hunt locations, right? So hunt locations are used when we want a visual 3D object to be spawned as a pickable or pickupable. Can you say pickupable? As a pickupable item, right? Or reward. So there is the difference between the two. And so the table hunt location is all this information, but the important point is that basically in this table, this table is connected to a scheduled item, and every time an item is picked up, after a certain amount of time, another one is respawned. Now this one I didn't test in fairly long time, so but I think I enabled it on in Unreal, so I think it should work in Unreal, right? So when the player picks up the item, a new scheduled item, item is scheduled to be spawned later on based on configured interval, right? You can configure an interval of time by which this is going to be spawned, right? That's good. And That's good. Okay, so I did this because I want to understand, right? I want to understand what is the best way for me to provide more dynamic content, right? More dynamic elements. So at the moment I think we have yeah, we also have the proximity triggers. We also have the proximity trigger, which is another point. Proximity triggers are defined in a range of meters constantly checked by the engine. The trigger generally functionality when the player is within a range of the NPC on action location. In Legacy, we have 3 ways to use proximity triggers. Action locations. Action locations. You can set an action location trigger type field in value proximity. Okay. The range is defined with the location radius. In PS Unreal, from the database point of view, all data remains the same. Okay. When I wrote this, I think it is fairly recent, 28th of October. From the database point of view, all data remain the same. From the server point of view, we spawn a new APS proxy trigger class actor, which is responsible for triggering the range proximity with a standard U overlap event. Very nice. Yes, for example, this one, you know, I mean, I didn't really forget, but I mean, now that I read it, obviously I'm saying yes, I did it, but if you would ask me, it would take me a bit to remember, but now we have it here, you know. So this is a way. Now the question is, when should we use this? I think we can use this for traps. So the best way would be to do it for traps. The problem of action locations. No, but I think it's good. I think it's good. Because what we trigger is the response type script. So we already trigger properly, because I remember I did this job kind of recently. We already properly trigger this. So if it's a script trigger, now I don't remember exactly how it is done because I didn't put any example or anything, but I didn't put any example. Fire damage. And healing 3. Mesh names meet ingots. Position 000, but this one will never trigger in our database, eh? Here it is. Ingots of fire new. Yes. Now I remember. Now, the only question is this one working? Wait. Is this one working fire damage? Why we don't have this one here in our test database? Because I would like to see that proximity trigger getting actually triggered. Right? Let me test it 1 second. Let me test it. Let me test it. Yeah, the point is, the point is, which database are we using at the moment? Fuck. Okay. We were using the wrong database, boys. But now we are using the right one. Now we are using the right one. So we can use... So for example, if I want to make traps, right? If I want to make traps, I have different ways. I have different ways to make them. And I need to understand which one is the, I mean, which is the best one to use. I think it depends on the type. I think in these days, you know, in these days where the game is pretty much ported, I'm really trying to think what I need to do next, you know, in terms of priority. It is why we did the long discussion yesterday and why I'm doing this now, because I want to understand what are the ways for me to add more dynamic content to the game, leveraging obviously what we have already, or adding new as needed, right? So, for example, right, I have a script that in theory should trigger when I reach this location, right? There is a script, I have no idea where this is, but it's in the middle of the plaza somewhere. Yes, for example, it worked. Yes, it worked. You see, you touch the ingots and your hands are burned. Your hand is burned. So this is an example of an invisible, let's say, trap or whatever. Then we can also make some visible stuff, but at the moment it's invisible. So if I go into this location, if I go into that location with a specific radius, at the moment the radius is 10 meters, right? So when I enter into that, we are triggering a script directly, right? And the script is actually pointing to yeah, these are a bit of the pieces that I miss sometimes, right? So wait. So So in action locations, do we have the action locations? Well, we kind of have it, but I mean, it's not great, but we kind of have it. Do we have a better description of action locations anywhere or not? Apart from proximity triggers, but... Wow, we don't have any documentation on this, huh? We don't? No, we don't. We don't, so... Ah, no, we do. Well, we have a bit, but it's very little. Yeah, it is a bit more how it works from the point of view of the server-client interaction, but... what I'm searching for is more how these things are defined. Let me try to do the same trick, so we improve a bit the quality of this table. This idea of using the visual editing of the pre-existing stuff is so good. It's so good. What do you mean there is no text in this page? They deleted my page? Please use sandbox. Okay. Okay. Testing area. Okay, man, but okay, can I just add stuff here? Yes, I can. I think I can. Okay, it's possible. Okay, they didn't like the fact that I spammed, you know. But it was my own page, but I guess no. I guess they didn't like it. Okay, field type and description. Nice. So we can take now this. And we can take this and put it here. Okay, so we have a bit more stuff. What is the point? What is the point? The point is... The point is that I want to document a bit more. So this is basically the center of the action location, right? So there is the center of the action location. Right, these three fields, X, Y, and Z. This is the specific polygon number to use when triggering the action location. We don't do this too much, but name of the mesh used to trigger the action location. Yeah, sector name is sector name. Name is the name of the action location. I mean, this is not really special. Master ID, I have no idea. Radius. Consider radius. Radius. I mean, let's say sides of the trigger. Sides of the trigger. Starting from the center, or let's say radius of the trigger starting from the defined center. Trigger type, for example, trigger type, you know, I want to know which are the possible values because I always get confused by those. So can we have a list of possible values? Examine and no, trigger type is select, proximity. But you know, I'm not completely sure it's only selecting proximity. I think there is probably more than that. Trigger type. All open documents. I would like to see the definition and put it somewhere, because otherwise this is another thing that, you know, we go around 20 times and we don't remember then how to do it. Trigger type select. Okay. Yes, we have select and proximity. Nothing else. We have select. So can be select or proximity. So basically select can be select player needs to click to activate, and proximity activates automatically based on range, right? Okay, that is already good. Response type. I think it should be in the same file, hopefully. Response type, no? I was hoping. No? Okay. Response type. No. It's not this one. You see? It's not this one. Must be something like examine. Let me search examine. Uppercase. Ah, it was there. Go to declaration. Yes. Go to declaration. Go to declaration. Why is taking so much time? GG, go to declaration. Okay. Oh wow. No, but it's impossible. I mean, in the context of an action location, for sure is not all of this. I mean, 100% is not all of that. I think the best would be probably to do a query in production Do a query in production and we see. So basically a select distinct from action location response type, right? Let me try that. Select distinct action response type from action locations. Let me just be sure that we are in the right database. Yes, it's only examine or script. There is no other choices. Okay, easy. Can be examine. Examine will return a string. Will return a text as description. Or, well, I don't know actually. Wait a second. Examine. No, examine can do a million things. I mean, examine can anyway contain a script, while a script is pointing directly to a script. Okay. So examine can contain a description or an examine script. I think it's a bit long to describe it here in the comment of the. I think it's a bit long to explain it here in the comment of the thingy. I think I will do this. I think I will. I will keep it simple like that, and then I will put the additional text in the wiki page. Otherwise, it becomes a bit too much. Okay. That easy, huh? That easy? I love this. I love the fact that I can copy paste tables with visual editing. Action location table. So okay, so let's say yeah, I don't know if this is really the best place to describe it, but maybe, you know what we can do? We can describe it down here. I think we can do this. Can be selector proximity. I mean, I don't have a problem to put it in my page. I just had a problem maybe to put it in the database. But here I think is okay. Select player needs to click to activate. Proximity activates automatically based on range. Examine can contain just text displayed to the player as a description, displayed to the player as description, or an examine script, or script name of the progression event to. Do we have progression events in the database description? Good question. Good question, boys. Database design. Do we have... I don't think we have. No. Do we have math? No. We don't have math. We don't have progression events. Okay. I think it would be good anyway to add it one day. Be good to add it one day. Maybe that day is today. Scripting tables. We actually have already a... No, we don't have. Okay, so scripting tables, I think we need to have math script table. Math scripts. And then we need 2 tables to be documented properly. Math scripts. Wait, let me just do it right. Math scripts, yes, is correct. And then progression events. And then progression events table. Progression events. Okay. So these 2 are also 2 that would be nice to have. Would be nice to have and to point to these 2 pages. Because here, what I'm saying is that here we point to the name of what? Of the progression event or of the math script? I think of the progression event because like fire damage, right? We had a fire damage thingy. I think it is. Were named like fire. Ouch. Yes, fire damage. You see, it's a progression event. So yes, it's pointing to a progression events table. Progression events. Progression events dot name. Yes. Okay, I think that's great. That's great. That's great, boys. Okay, so we are working a bit on the documentation today. I think it's good. It's something that is helping me to, you know, I think it's a bit late now. I think I need to go, but I think it was a good session. We did a lot of stuff, actually documented a lot of stuff. And mainly we gave some structure. We gave some structure to this page. No. What things here? We gave some structure to this page, which is the PS Unreal configurations, which I think it will become more and more and more important as we progress and make the game more solid, because I have to know, you know, all the tools that I have to better configure the game, and in particular to configure, you know, dynamic contents. Dynamic elements. And at the moment we have I don't know if the distinction between static and dynamic really makes sense, but what I wanted to say is that all these ones are the one that you set once. These ones are the one that may be I mean that the people see as dynamic. Maybe also this one you set once, right? But these are really generating dynamic stuff in the game. So the proximity triggers can be traps. These ones, actually, I think proximity triggers probably should go in the static, but I don't know. I mean, anyway, because now my idea is, can we provide more dynamic content, and how do I want to do it? Do I want to do it? So let's say that we want to do an event where there are some, I don't know, chests that are getting found, or some merchant that are spawning, or some bards that are spawning in taverns, or some, you know, special secret places, or stuff like that. How do I do it? Do I do it with this technique of the proximity triggers? Probably not, unless for traps I think I can use this, but yeah, I think this one can be probably used for traps. For I think random generated events is super powerful, and I need to start using it, right? I need to start using this functionality. I need to start using that. Okay, boys, I think I'm gonna go. I don't know. This session was a bit. I don't know if it was interesting to you. Maybe not. Maybe yes. I have no idea. Give me some feedback. But I understand it was a bit of a documentation session. But I really needed it to start, you know, some to start to organize our resources, because I think we have a lot is in my head. It doesn't have to stay all in my head. I think it needs to, you know, to be also documented, and it will also help me to do to make some choices, to take some decisions. And this goes back a bit to this one, right? Because some of the elements that are in this list are dynamic elements, right? And so the connection between the session of yesterday and the one of today is that I was thinking, how can I develop, you know, those dynamic elements in a good way? And I said, I don't even know. I mean, I don't even have a list of all the dynamic elements and all the stuff that we can configure in the game. And so I need to build a list first, maybe, right? To know what I have in my hands. And obviously there is way more than that. Right? This is just an initial list, but obviously there is a huge piece here about NPC behavior, right? And NPC behavior is, I mean, it's a big part. It's already all documented, so. And another big one is for sure quests, right? But another one that, for example, I would like to have is mechanisms, right? And mechanisms, today, I don't really know how to do it. Maybe I can do it a bit with the proximity triggers. Yes, I think it can be an extension of this system, but maybe it needs its own system, right? And did I do already something on it? Yes, because in the old game there was a way to move, you know, stuff. Like secret passages and stuff. How do we do this? How do we do this? Which connects back to the talents, right? Because if you remember when we worked on the talents, these talents also require some level of dynamic elements added to the game. So combining these three things, you know, we need to decide what to do next, and I need this kind of basic information and data to actually take a good decision, to make a good decision, right? Okay, guys, I think I'm going now, but it was a good session. I will see you tomorrow. I will push more for, you know, finalizing things. I don't know if we will work on this or not. Probably not, but I think we will work on something else. But I think at least I set a kind of a foundation for it. Okay. I think I'm going. So many things in this tiger head. Yes, too many. Too many. I wish you a good night. And I see you tomorrow. If you want to click on follow on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube, it will be nice. And we also have a Patreon goal, which is patreon.com/planeshift. Why not? Bye bye. You asked where is the server for the PS Wiki? Where is it located in terms of region? I have no idea. I think it's in Italy. The server is in Italy. Yes, I think so. Bye.